ton of good PR in this summer, and then their practices and stuff like that. So, and he's like super, super, super deep sleeper, like dart throw kind of guy, like way, So, but just something to keep an eye on if you're in any like deeper dynasty leagues, things like that. So, all
Oh,
right,
you can't
so
see my video, can you?
no, I can't. We got to do the call or whatever. So,
Yeah, good chance my phone
Treader
dies doing
starting.
it.
Do you have a charger? Can we set up a GoFundMe for your charger? Super, super deep sleeper, like dart throw kind of guy. Too late. All right.
Welcome,
We do
welcome,
everything.
welcome. This is our first time doing this, so bear with us. But
Let me share that real quick.
yeah, we're gonna talk some DFS today. We're gonna talk some. If anyone has any last second, bets they want to make, we'll help you out with that. Trying
Yeah,
to get
season
things.
long, start sit questions, DFS lineup questions, whatever you got. Your Browns questions, NFL anything football related. We're taking it all today, that's for sure. So, and helping everybody
Yeah, we got the
with their
chat pulled
lineups,
up.
win some money, all of it.
We'll see your questions. We'll answer them. Um, we got John the stat guy backing us up. And I won't say that I like PFF because apparently that turns way too many people off, but
It's okay.
that's all right though.
Kind of your thing, isn't it?
All right, yeah. You can see us on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, whatever you're on. Thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. Let's get this.
All right, yeah. You can
see
us on YouTube. Yep. Thanks, Chandler.
Nice.
Thanks, Chandler Jr.
Little Chan.
All right, everyone. We're gonna keep reiterating this till we get a little bit farther in. We're here to answer questions for you guys. Specifically, if you've been following along with us, our articles, our podcast with DFS and betting. John and I did this last year. We've got a little bit of a newer look, a little bit fresher look. We decided we'd be going live on Sundays. What time we go live might change. What day we go, I don't know. We're just trying to figure this out as we go along. If you got questions about fantasy football lineup, your DFS lineup, any last minute bets you want to place, if you listen to our show.
There we go. Broadcast is not available.
I just went. It'll be a new live.
No, I know. I was just on the tweet that you just sent out. Just trying to get that one out. That's the one that says broadcast not available. Mm-hmm. Marvin Hall is the. Hey, there we go. That guy sounds like he knows what he's talking about.
No, he doesn't really.
All
right, people. Thank you for hanging in there. Come join us.
Oh, I see. People are starting to come in now. We got 7 in. Yeah, sorry about that, folks. Internet issues. Trying to get it back up now. Should be good.
We're here to help with DFS, fantasy lineups, betting questions, Browns questions, NFL questions in general. We'll have a couple talking points, but basically we want to get chats questions. We want to help you guys set those lineups. We know you've got the Sunday nerves right now, especially if you're playing DFS. You've changed your lineup 27 times today so far.
Absolutely.
Probably go with the first one you set. Probably. That would be my advice. But if you have any questions on it, if you're on our Facebook one, you just put a comment and it pops up. We can see it. Twitter, I think it's kind of the same thing. If you're on YouTube, obviously in the chat bar. Twitch in the chat bar. Yeah, we're just here to help you guys out. Get a better feel for what's going down today. As
Absolutely.
Always, if you don't know where I was going with that. If you have any fantasy questions, though, betting questions, drop them below. John and I's answers might have changed a little bit since our last podcast. Injuries, whatnot. So we're here for you guys. I was just telling John before the internet just so lovingly went out that a game that I didn't love earlier in the week that I'm now starting to love is this Chicago-Detroit game. But I'm so torn. On FanDuel, it's really easy to get a stack. Thoughts on Edwards-Helaire? Thank you, Isaac. Also, if you haven't checked out Isaac's Spotify, now it is NSFW, so play it accordingly. But just type in IZYK on Spotify. You'll find him. It's a yellow profile picture. Dude's a phenomenal songwriter. So, Isaac, shout out to that.
Oh, cool.
But secondly,
absolutely. I'll check
Edwards-Helaire made me eat my crow. I didn't love him. I still don't really love him. I don't specifically love what Edwards-Helaire brings. I think he's fantastic in the passing game and whatnot. But realistically, any running back for the Ravens, the Chiefs, I'll just leave it with those two. Any running back for the Ravens or the Chiefs, that's a guy that you go snag. I mean, Damian Williams looked like an MVP in the playoff run. I mean, it's just
he should have won the Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's just
absolutely
when you got. I mean, I think even if Tampa Bay, fantasy wise, Tampa Bay is going to be hard to go after because of all the running back by committee. But when you're going to have the limited amount of 8-man in the box down in Tampa Bay, I mean, they're not going to load the box up with their weapons. Those are the type of running backs you go after no matter what their name is. Luckily for Edwards-Helaire, Williams opted out, so now it's down to him and Darrell. And Edwards-Helaire is younger and he's more proven in the pass game, really. So, he looked good. He made me eat my crow. But
I think the one of the most important parts for the Kansas City game, watching Edwards-Helaire specifically, it's clear that they designed, that offense looked very different from what we're used to seeing from Kansas City. And I know it hasn't been that big of a sample size, 2 years with Patrick Mahomes. But the bottom line is, here's this first-round running back that they got, and we all expected, him to be this dynamic pass catcher, and he had 2 targets and no catches. And he still had a great game because they ran, they obviously gave him a ton of carries and everything. So it's intriguing that they clearly, made him the focal point of the offense. When he gets into situations where they're going to need him as a pass catcher, he's going to be dangerous that way. So, and I don't want to knock what he did because he looked quick and he was, solid cuts and things like that. I was just like, tons of carries inside the 5. I think he had 5 or 6 carries inside the 5, and he just got smashed like on all. Okay. Sorry, everybody. Welcome back. People are coming in. Yeah, technology. What are you going to do? 2020. The year that is literally trying to kill you.
The year that keeps on giving.
Yep. Never stops. Okay, there it is. So let's see if Isaac, right before we got off, we were talking about Edwards-Helaire. So yeah, it's just some positives and negatives. What's called the fact that they really are going to make him the focal point. That's very intriguing. So I think that's going to be really interesting. And then when he does, when they do get into games where they're going to need him as a pass catcher, I think that's where he'll really shine. Not that he didn't already, but it's not necessarily that I wasn't expecting that. Let's put it that way. So, but he looked good, except in the goal line. Isaac also asked, "Do you think Teddy B gets it done today?" So I think that's really interesting. Nice, welcome, Jeff. Welcome. Yeah, Teddy B is interesting. Like their defense is so bad that he's going to have to, they're going to have to throw the ball a lot this year. Not just today against the Raiders, but. I think Josh Jacobs is in a real smash spot today against the worst rush defense from last year, and they didn't get any better. They're so young. It's going to be really tough to really tough for him to. Okay, good. Let me retweet that real quick. Yeah, it's going to be really tough for the Panthers. So Teddy B, like his problem is that he just doesn't throw the ball down the field. He's like Derek Carr. Like his
it might be the slowest. slowest game with two of the most exciting running backs in the game
Yeah, really.
today.
That's a good point. So, but
Could be weird.
if he opens it up and I mean, I think the one thing that you can say about him is that the Panthers offense with DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel and Christian McCaffrey, those kind of receivers, like he's perfectly suited for that style of offense because he's going those are guys, 5 to 10 yards, they get open quickly, and then they do, they're yak guys. They do stuff after the catch. So I think it kind of plays to Teddy Bridgewater's. I don't want to call it a strength. It's like his weakness that he can't throw the ball down the field or won't or whatever it is. But so definitely intriguing, that's for sure. I mean, we all like DJ Moore. I think he's one of the more like underrated wide receiver ones. Like fantasy season long drafts, he was kind of going, a little later than I thought he should have. So it makes sense to like his quarterback, So,
Jeff.
but yeah, me too.
Jeff,
too.
What's
Jeff,
up?
I
I want to
couple
thank
spots.
everyone that's back in again. The Wi-Fi Spectrum has went down twice. So that's awesome. Hadn't done it all day, then did it.
We'll get it.
We're live again.
All right.
At least
Hey,
we
look,
know
we're Browns fans,
we can
we have optimism.
probably count on Jeff. Maybe only Jeff, but that's okay. We'll hang out with Jeff. We got one.
Share now. Weird.
Will this be the day? Good Lord.
3 people back in. All right.
People, if it goes out again, I don't know what to tell you.
There we go.
Maybe if you can, I don't know if from your phones you can do like a joint Twitter live. I don't know. Wi-Fi I have been on the Wi-Fi preparing for this all day. It had not crashed once. Honestly, I might be a little more upset that if it keeps doing this during the Browns game, I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, that's a good point. How do you watch typically?
Just YouTube TV.
Okay. Oh yeah, I got to switch too. I had Spectrum, but now that what's called YouTube has the NFL Network and the Red Zone channel, I was like, well, there we go, wheels up. So, absolutely.
Yeah, I did have Spectrum, and then it just was a lot, and my parents got YouTube TV, and all of us can be on the package. Everyone that's in here, thank you. I honestly can't explain why you guys have rejoined for the 4th time, but we appreciate it more than you'll ever know.
Yeah, really. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Truly appreciate it. We have answered a question about Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Teddy Bridgewater, and DJ Moore. Oh
yeah, and while we're waiting, I was asking you any lineup decisions, like personally for you, that you were struggling with this week.
Not necessarily. I mean, I was upset with how Deshaun Watson did. Like, I definitely thought it was going to be more of a shootout. And I helped my dad with his league, and he has Deshaun Watson. But I'm only in one league. It's the ATB league. So I plan on making people cry in there.
Oh, nice.
I didn't necessarily have any questions. I have Matt Breida in there. I love Matt Breida this year. And I've seen a lot of people asking, like, should I start Matt Breida? And personally, hell yes. The Patriots have maybe the best secondary in all football, and their front 7 is weak as hell this year. I love Matt Breida today, especially. But AJ Green, I'm starting him just because, like, I'm not going to start Brashad Perryman over him or Jerry Jeudy or Golden Tate. But no, I didn't really have any questions. I guess, like, betting wise, we recorded the podcast on Thursday, and they had Seahawks minus 2.5.
Right.
Now it's down to 1.5. So I don't like that bet if you're making it today. If you made it 2 days ago and you got the 3 points on the road, which John actually debunked, being on the road being at home doesn't help you win the NFL statistically. So having a good quarterback does. But no, I don't have like any questions, I guess, right now. I guess with DFS, You have been on Trubisky all week. I'm starting to fall more in love with Trubisky today. I know I'm
Yeah.
running out of time. But, like, any lineup, I can get Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, and Christian McCaffrey in, which I did with the Trubisky and Allen Robinson stack. And the only places I took a cut at, John, in this lineup I'm looking at, is Kendrick Bourne, who you love this week.
Yep.
So if Kendrick Bourne and Jonathan Taylor are my two, I guess I'll take them this week. I kind of love that.
Yeah. I mean, if you're in a DFS, tournament, especially where you need like some, cheap wide receiver to just really explode, and it's who's going to be low owned. I think Bourne is definitely worth taking a chance on, for sure. So Debo Samuel was on IR, so he's out the first 3 weeks. Brandon Ayuk was questionable basically all summer and all throughout practice leading up to week 1. So he is going to play. But there's no way. I mean, he's a rookie. He's been hurt. Like, he's got to be on a pitch count. Shanahan's offense isn't the most, complex thing in the world, but you got to know what you're doing, obviously. So, and if they don't trust him. Kittle and Bourne are just going to play a ton. So if you're looking for a cheap, just a cheap wide receiver who at least is going to be on the field, I think you could do a lot worse than Kendrick Bourne for sure. But yeah, and then Mike Evans, I need to talk about this out loud real quick. Like, Evans was doubtful like 2-3 days ago and then upgraded to questionable. So what do we do with him? I mean, like, I'm sitting him in one of the bigger leagues that I'm in because it's a play all week. So we're just, the 12 teams, the top 6 get a win, the bottom 6, in scoring get a loss. So kind of thinking like we just need high floor players, and he could easily get a 0 if he, maybe he might have like 3 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown, and we'll be kicking ourselves. But he could also aggravate his hamstring on the first, series and just miss the entire game. So
yeah,
I can't believe they're even playing him. What do you think?
I think Evans is an absolute decoy this week. I think he's playing simply to have Marshawn Lattimore on him and kind of wash that out, if I had to guess.
I mean, that, and if he is playing, then we love Godwin then, right?
Yeah.
We love Godwin because
if Evans is not playing, I don't like Godwin at all.
Right.
Not that I don't like him at all. I don't like him at all for his value.
Right. No, I totally get it. But yeah, Evans was the one lineup decision where it was just like, oh man, what do you do? Like, Galladay got ruled out. Okay, great. That's excellent. But yeah, like everything, everything else has been straightforward. I mean, Miles Sanders, like, he's out, obviously. So Boston Scott's a great replacement. Although I will say this, I'm going to call this now. Obviously, we didn't include this in the betting podcast, but Washington, if you're going to take an underdog to win today, like, just bet on the money line. So Washington's like plus 230 to just beat Philly. They're going to beat Philadelphia. So I think their offense is improved.
If you want a money line, it's the Packers over the Vikings. Don't make us get heated over this, John.
Oh no, that's fine. That's your call. That it's my call. Like, that's
no. I do like Washington. The problem is,
so they're plus 105 or plus 110. The Packers are. So, you bet $10. You bet $10. You win $10.50 or $11. So That's basically what that is. But and Washington is plus. What's the consensus here? Okay, plus 200. So it came down a little bit. So. But yeah, go ahead. What were you saying? You like the like Washington, but
like we've been saying. So Seattle was at 3. They were given 3. They were having Seattle by 3 points on Bovada when we recorded the podcast. Now it's 1 point. I don't like that. I don't like the Seattle plus 1. Or no, Seattle plus 1. Yes, I like that. What?
Yeah, you took
Seattle was minus 2.5 this week. Unless I wrote it down wrong. Seattle.
No, you were right.
Seattle was the favorite earlier, right?
Yes, for sure.
Okay. If you get Seattle plus 1, actually, I think it had right around the same juice. So.
This just came off the board. What the hell? Why can't I find it?
That's confusing.
This is weird.
Okay, Seattle plus 1. Whatever. They have moved the Packers to plus 1.5.
Oh, here it is. So they've given them a whole point better.
So they've given them a whole point better. I like that. 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 Browns, they moved it from you were basically getting +9. And now you're getting +7.5. I don't like that one as much.
Which one's that?
Browns, they moved the line from 9 to basically 8. So that's a little
Yeah,
scarier.
That one is, consensus is 7.5, so you're still getting over a touchdown,
Yep.
which isn't bad. Yeah, the Seattle, that's insane. So that line moved 3 points, so everybody is taking the Falcons, or there's some giant money, whether it's the public betting on. I'd be surprised if the public weren't on Seattle. So that feels like sharp money, like big sharp money from some groups in Vegas or whatever betting on the Falcons.
Yeah.
We got
team.
a question from not America's team.
Also, not America's team, the world's team. Go give him a follow on Twitter. Great guy. He'll be joining as a guest host on the podcast eventually across the Browns. This is across the board. But if I had to guess, it's not injury related. I would say just not rushing. I'm gonna try to say this without bashing on Michigan, but
you don't have to worry about that. You could. This is a Michigan bashing zone.
I guess if we're looking at like your brain, like I don't think it was stimulated nearly enough at Michigan. Like he wasn't getting NFL concepts in there, and I really just think it's been a short off season. No need to rush him back against arguably the best team in football. And he wouldn't have made a big difference today. I would be surprised if they had more than 3 wide receivers on the field very often. OBJ is reportedly, in some of the best shape of his life. I'd be surprised if OBJ didn't play almost the whole game, especially because him and Humphrey don't like each other. So, OBJ is a very competitive guy. He's going to want to be out on the field as much as possible. Got to watch Jarvis. Not Jarvis. Got to watch Rashard Higgins. He's been very quiet. There just hasn't been much about him this offseason. So I'm excited to see because I don't care who's on the field. If Rashard Higgins is out there, I truly think that's Baker's first thought. I'm most comfortable with Rashard Higgins. Could have changed coming into year 3, but I just think it's not a rush back. Donovan Peoples-Jones on offense isn't going to be a factor this year. Special teams I expect him to be, but he's a 2-3 year plan type of guy. And he might never play a snap on offense that's significant, but 6'3", his size, his speed, his agility could be, he could be a top punt returner, kick returner in the NFL if he gets, which catching a punt and catching a pass is a completely different monster. But
was it Nats, Natson and and Dearness Johnson are going to handle punt and kick returns, I believe, today.
Yep.
That's the last thing I saw. And then, for sure. JoJo will definitely have it covered, though. Yep. Absolutely.
JoJo's a lot faster than Donovan, but it's just.
And then Stefanski's the fact that they're going to utilize running backs and tight ends a lot more than receivers, I think that's going to be the reason why
Ivan,
Peoples-Jones,
son of a bitch.
So, welcome.
You don't got to bring
Absolutely,
this up, man. First of all, Hellhound, who I'm now going to start calling Ivan because I just think Ivan's a badass name, and this is Ivan, everyone.
Ivan.
I shared it out. You can go look at it on my Twitter at Chandler Adams, his at Dog Pound East, I believe.
Dog Pound East.
He was on a podcast last night, I believe. Different time zones. Sorry if it wasn't last night, Ivan. But you can see him at about the minute. You can see him about the hour and a half mark. He comes in and I think he dropped John's favorite stat so far he's heard this year.
Phenomenal. I mean, so he's on the show, right? It's in the UK, right? So it's a lot of the one guy had like a Brooklyn or New York accent or whatever, but a couple hosted by some UK guys, and awesome. First of all, the excitement and the energy is so much fun. Like to see how much they care about football, in this other country, that's really cool. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, so everybody, what do you think about the Browns? And of course, our boy Hellhound's on there, repping the Browns, and I think they're gonna win, and here's why. And he's talking. So he dropped OBJ led the NFL in receiving yards off a blitz, whenever the defense blitzed last year. I mean, this is with the the sports hernia, being injured all year, not having surgery till the end,
having one of the worst years of his career, with only 1,000 yards.
Absolutely. And then talking about, you also mentioned Lamar Jackson's attempts in games they lost. Obviously it was Kansas City and us. So, turn him into a passing. Now, listen, he led the NFL in passing touchdowns. I know he can throw. Like, I'm not saying that he can't, but their offense is not designed to have him drop back 45 times a game. That's just not what they want to do, right? Like when they get when a game plan goes to perfection for them, they're running the ball a lot more, being very successful doing it.
Yeah.
So, Ivan brought up two awesome points: 663 yards on blitz plays last year. I mean, that's a phenomenal stat, and just something that's so cool to know and realize. It's like, okay, and that was with terrible offensive line. Baker having a really bad year. Injuries for OBJ, like we said. So things to improve upon. But yeah, that show was fantastic. So Ivan, great job, man. It was a lot of fun to see you on there. Being the lone wolf, as they called it, they're all took the Ravens, and obviously you took the Browns. So, but I just thought you did a great job. It was really cool, really cool.
Real quick on the Browns, and obviously if we get, this isn't our Browns show, so if you drop any NFL questions, DFS, season long, betting, we're here to answer those. But right now we got our Browns gang in here, so we're gonna answer their questions.
Oh yeah.
I think. So I've been pretty vocal about how I don't think the Browns are going to win today. But we'll give you guys some life. There's a very real formula for them to win, and that's to establish the run early, get ahead, make Lamar Jackson throw. And that kind of leads into a DFS thing I want to say. If Lamar Jackson's throwing the ball, Mark Andrews has to be the tight end you're playing this week, because no one on this Browns defense.
Oh, yeah.
That was Grant Delpit. Grant Delpit was going to guard Mark Andrews, and Grant Delpit was not going to neutralize Mark Andrews, because very few can. He was going to slow him down. And speaking of Mark Andrews, Ivan, we didn't even answer your question. Is Bryant getting more reps than Njoku? Hell no. Hell no. Njoku's going off today. My boy Njoku.
It's going to be really hard to see him getting more reps than Njoku today.
Oh, I can't remember his ad. I'm sorry. Hawaii Browns Surf. God damn it. John, there's John, and he's Dog Pound Surf. I follow two great Browns. John is down in Florida. He's writing a book, by the way. Dog Pound Surf with just DWG.
Okay.
Dog Pound Surf. And then there's Hawaii Dog Pound. Let me see. Hawaii Browns. Oh, HUI. That's why I didn't know his name, because it's film, football, and a palm tree. But, yeah, he's got a podcast. It's the Nothing But Dogs podcast. They do a great job over there. But, yeah, anyway, he seems to be the other lone Njoku stan right now. Like, I'll back Njoku with my life.
Okay.
Ooh, Isaac. Njoku's going to go stupid today. I mean, I think if a receiver is going to go stupid today, and I'll say this pretty much every week, there's no reason it shouldn't be Njoku, because he might be the most all-around physically gifted pass catcher on this team, and he's the fourth, like, he's the afterthought. He's the fourth target. Defenses are going to focus on OBJ,
maybe even the
Hooper,
fifth. You want to count Hunt ahead of
Chubb
him.
and Hunt. Like, fourth, fifth. Sometimes six, like absolutely. And touchdown wise, like, Njoku has a chance. The Browns have a chance to be the most efficient red zone offense. OBJ and Jarvis, I don't know statistically career wise, but last year were not efficient in the red zone. Neither were the Browns. But now you have two very good red zone tight ends, and two very good red zone backs. And Baker, his first year, was very efficient in the red zone. So this should be a very good red zone team. But I don't know. Like, back to Browns versus Ravens. There's a real formula where they win, but things have to go right, man. I just want to see a good game. But DFS-wise, I did want to ask you something.
Yep. What you got?
So I would say there's a good chance where, the Ravens are playing on a positive game script and they're running the ball a lot. So if Mark Andrews is only 7,400, if you're debating between Mark Andrews and Zach Ertz at 6,600, and you think Washington's going to win,
Yes.
so you're probably going with Zach Ertz in this situation, hands down.
Over Andrews, you're saying?
Yeah, just those two. If you're just looking, if you're going cash guys, and I would say maybe, one of the bigger value guys is Austin Hooper, staying in that game, 5,700. I mean, he has a chance to score. I don't even know.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't even know how much David Njoku is. David Njoku is 4,400. If you're in a tournament, David Njoku might not be a bad play. You save a lot of money at tight end. Hope for a touchdown.
He could be a good reach. Yep.
It sucks that there wasn't more of a preseason. It sucks for us. It's great for the team that the Browns have been quiet this offseason. Not a lot of leakage. So we don't know how Stefanski and Njoku are doing. But I don't know. The tight end's a really weird position this week because George Kittle and Mark Andrews are up there as the two most expensive. But
yeah, Kittle's 8,000 on FanDuel, and you could easily, if you want to pay up for him and stack it with Garoppolo and Kendrick Bourne, even if you're going to go, pay up at running back, which you probably should do, that's totally fine. Andrews is 7,400. Ertz is 6,700. I think they're both good plays. I guess I think kind of sometimes what I tend to do is like build the rest of the lineup and know that I'm gonna squeeze in Kittle, Andrews, or Ertz depending on how much money I have left elsewhere. But so if I spend up and I need to save money at tight end, then Ertz is the cheapest. Great. If I find Kendrick Bourne and maybe somebody else we were talking about. Well, Jonathan Taylor's cheap. He's only
5,400. Jonathan Taylor should be in every single
that's a joke.
DFS lineup this week, or else you're already behind.
Yeah, that's a joke. And
there's a chance he doesn't turn out. But so when you're playing DFS season long, absolutely not the same. If you're playing DFS and everybody has a guy, you probably need to go get that guy. Just because you have to play the numbers. If you have him and he does well, you're right with everyone. If you have him and he does terribly, you're still right with everyone. I'm talking tournament play. If Jonathan Taylor is 80% owned, you have to have Jonathan Taylor because you can't be the 20% that doesn't have him if he does blow up. And he's so cheap that if you're one of the 80% that has him, you're not buying around Jonathan Taylor. You're adding him in around expensive receivers. You can have Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, and Josh Jacobs in the same lineup and still get you can get a cash tight end and a cash wide receiver. I don't know. I don't know if that made any sense, but
yeah.
In DFS, you kind of have to go chalk. You can't just go rogue and be like, I'm not doing it this week. To win long term in DFS, the more people I've listened to that have been in this game for years and years and years, in tournament plays, you obviously have to have those one or two guys that are going to boom that no one else picks if you want to get you want to win.
The 4% owned guy that just has a 30-point game. Yep.
And fantasy drafts used to tell the percentage. Mitchell Trubisky, I don't know the percentage, but I would say with David Montgomery being questionable and it's soft tissue, and then Okuda being out today, I would say Mitchell Trubisky will probably be highly owned because of his leg. He's the cheapest running option outside of Tyrod Taylor,
yep, absolutely.
I would say
that's a good point.
And Mitchell Trubisky is easier to stack this week, in my opinion, because you don't know who Tyrod is going to get the ball to. I don't know. No,
that's right. So if you're and kind of piggybacking off that, if you're spending up elsewhere for Josh Jacobs, McCaffrey, guys like that you should be spending money on, then saving money at receiver. Okay, DK Metcalf is 6,400 on FanDuel. Against Atlanta, they're going to have to throw the ball. Even if they want to run, they're going to have to. They're going to end up having to throw. That should be a pretty good shootout. He led all receivers in end zone targets last year. That's not going to go away, obviously. So that's
who
fantastic.
led all receivers? Allen?
DK Metcalf.
Oh, DK, yeah.
So, yep. Michael Gallup is 6,200. And we think that Amari Cooper is going to have to deal with Jalen Ramsey tonight. So, Gallup can be a wide receiver one for Dallas, basically. He was in a points per game basis last year. they were identical. Like Cooper and Gallup were identical. Gallup missed 3 games because of injury, so that's your difference right there. But essentially, they were the same wide receiver for fantasy football purposes. They were identical in points per game. I think Cooper was like 0.2 points better per game or something like that. So Gallup is very underrated and in a good matchup today versus a Rams secondary that basically has Jalen Ramsey, and that's about it. So
Yeah.
Marvin Jones, obviously, against the Bears, since Galladay's not going to play, he's 6,200. You've got, we talked about, Marquise Brown's a good way if you're going to use Lamar and Mark Andrews. You could throw Brown in with a nice
If you're a
Ravens
Browns
stack.
fan, I would go with. If you're a Browns fan and you're playing DFS and you're just like, in a $1 entry or whatever, and you're expecting, I want the Browns to come out, get ahead, whatever. Mark Andrews and Marquise Brown are a perfect play. You're not betting against the Browns because if Mark Andrews and Marquise Brown are involved in this game, the Browns are most likely up, unless it's obviously the first half. But like, if you're a Browns fan, you want to see Marquise Brown being targeted in the second half.
Yep, that'd be perfect. Absolutely.
Yeah. But also don't let your fandom take apart your DFS. You'll lose.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I keep interrupting.
Right.
You, but
yep. Good, man. Absolutely. I just had a couple more. So Kendrick Bourne is 5,700 against against Arizona. So obviously, like we said, they just don't have bodies, so they're going to have. He's going to play a lot. Deshaun Jackson is my favorite play of the week at 5,600 against Washington's secondary. So like I said, I think Washington's defensive line is better than we realize. Philadelphia is dealing with issues on the offensive line. Lane Johnson, just today they said he was going to give it a go, but I don't know if he's going to be able to finish. So, and without Lane Johnson in the lineup, Carson Wentz is a very different quarterback, and that offense is very, very different. So that's risky as hell. And I think Jackson, they're going to have to throw the ball. So he's a nice play. And then Anthony Miller, too. No matter whether you use Trubisky or not, Miller's in a good spot at 5,500 against Detroit, who has an atrocious secondary. So
I have an idea. We're not getting a ton of questions right now. Hopefully that gets better as we go along. This is new. I wasn't expecting the biggest thing. I saw this, so I kind of wanted to see how it worked. I'm gonna go through the positions. We're gonna give our favorite cash and our favorite value play. We'll do that for the positions, and then we'll kind of do like a stack we really like and a stack that everyone's going for that you want to fade.
Okay.
So just kind of like that. But who's your favorite cash quarterback this week?
So if I'm looking for, does it matter if it's a value or if it's like?
Nope. Obviously kind of value, but so I'm just talking value play. That's like a Mitchell Trubisky. So I would say just who are you spending up on if you are going to spend up?
Oh, spending up on. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, it's hard not to love Dak Prescott against the Rams. He's second highest at 8,400. I would definitely. Well, Russell Wilson. You know what? I'll just say that. Let's go with Russell Wilson because he's 8,400, so he's tied for second most with Dak. They're going to have to throw Atlanta. It should be a shootout type game. That screams over. So yeah, I think Russell Wilson's. If I'm spending up, that's where I'm going. So how about you?
Okay. Yeah, Russell Wilson or Matt Ryan. Just the opposite side. With Russell, you get the legs. With Matt Ryan, I just like Todd Gurley out of the backfield. Maybe breaks one. Maybe they're on the 30-yard line. 130-yard receiving touchdown from Todd Gurley is not out of the question as long as his knees are. It's week 1, so I am buying into this Falcons offense for as long as they're healthy. Yeah, they are very much aging.
Well, and I think real quick with Gurley, they're going to. He's never going to get 35 carries or touches in a game. You know what I mean? But they're going to be valuable touches. So if it's not volume, it's going to be more efficiency. And efficiency is hard to predict, and we'd rather have volume. But I don't think he's a black hole or a dead spot, anyways. So that's all.
Yep. I think I'll just go my value play. Everyone's going Minshew. The more I look into Minshew, the more I don't like it. I think Indiana's just super solid. Not fully sold on Chark and Westbrook yet.
Not sold on Chark.
They're definitely talented players. I'm just speaking purely and also James Robinson. That's fine if everyone wants to go James Robinson. I know that's John's boy. He was the first one on James Robinson. But to be fair, he hasn't done a thing in the NFL yet. So if I can spend
Not yet.
practically the same amount and get Trubisky or Taylor, who's going to give me, and Gardner Minshew is a threat on the ground. Don't get that wrong, and he's going to finally get some rushes inside the 5-yard line because last year Leonard Fournette had every single one for the Jaguars. But Tyrod Taylor, that front seven for the Bengals is the front four are good. Linebackers they can move. So I think Tyrod's gonna have to throw the ball a little bit, and then obviously he can still run, he can still move. So I like Taylor and Trubisky, but if I'm gonna look like at a stack that I like better, I like Trubisky because I know who he likes to target. With Taylor, you don't know if he's gonna favor Henry, you don't know if he's gonna favor Allen, and you don't know if the Bengals have just said let's make him throw to Mike. Let's make Williams beat us.
Well, Mike Williams is out, so he's not playing today.
Okay, so yeah, I don't like Taylor that much then because
no, me either.
You can if you can stop or slow down Henry and Keenan Allen, you're doing a lot better for yourself. So I like Mitchell Trubisky as a value play.
Yep, same here. Trubisky's 6,900 and Minshew is 6,700. I'd go with either one of those. If you go with Minshew, you take what's it called, Chark, and if you go with Trubisky, Robinson, and Miller, you just use them both. So that'd be fantastic.
Okay, so who's your cash running back? Paying up at
So it's Josh Jacobs. It's crazy that he's 8,200. I mean, Kamara, Henry, Zeke, Cook, Saquon, and McCaffrey all cost more than him. So Jacobs is at 8,200. He might run for 250 yards today against Carolina. Mm-hmm. So then they're certainly going to give him the opportunity to do so. That's for sure. So but absolutely. So if I'm spending up, I mean, McCaffrey's an obvious one, but I just think you have to get Jacobs in your lineup, find a way to do it.
Yeah. So, the only reason it's not Jacobs for me is because there's only one running back on this list that didn't have a down game last year. Christian McCaffrey averaged I think 10 points more per game than the next closest guy. I'm taking Christian McCaffrey. I know he's $10,000. I know it's a pretty penny to spend.
No, you have to.
But my God, he's the only one on this team. He's gonna be an absolute workhorse. He can go between the tackles. He's gonna be effective in the run game. I really like McCaffrey as a guy I'm paying up for. And I won't say Jonathan Taylor is my value play because everybody in the world is saying Jonathan Taylor. So I'll say my two value plays this week. I love Matt Breida. I think Miami competes against New England no matter how good or bad they are. And I think this front seven for the Patriots is the weakest they'll be and have been in a very long time. And that secondary is very, very good. The secondary for the Patriots is ridiculous. So I love Breida, and he's 5,200. So right there, you're kind of evening out. I paid $10,000. Now I'm gonna pay. I'm gonna go value to pair up with McCaffrey, and then this one blows my mind. At 4,700, you can get Zach Moss.
4,800.
What are you on, FanDuel or DraftKings?
FanDuel.
He's 4,700 for me.
I'm staring at it right now. Zach Moss, 4,800.
I'm staring at it right. I just added him to my lineup, 4,700. I might be in a different game as you or something weird because also I don't have Dak in here.
Oh.
I don't have Dak in mine.
Right, so you did the shorter slate or whatever. Yeah. I'm on the what's called the one you had the other day. It's 1 p.m. through Monday Night Football, so it's everybody. But either way, Zach Moss. That's my value
Zach
play
Moss.
Too.
They're gonna have a positive game script against the Jets. Ignore that the Jets were the 7th best rush defense in the NFL last year. Don't know how that happened. They're not a good team. Yep. Zach Moss better than Devin Singletary, so he'll probably only get 50-50 today, but he's definitely going to be the red zone running back. So
and what are they going to do? Let Josh Allen throw the ball? Come on.
Oh, and Zach Moss is better in the passing game than Devin Singletary. I know Devin Singletary is the size of
me.
I'm not going to be mean.
Me.
See, Ivan. I'm sure I'll be interacting with you during the Browns game. Thank you for the kind words. Always awesome.
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Take care. We'll see you. We'll talk to you soon, buddy. Take it easy. And again, great job on the show, man.
Yeah, great job. Zach Moss is going to be a factor in the pass game and the run game. I just love Zach Moss for 4,700.
Yep, absolutely. for sure.
So who's your kind of value guy at running back?
Same thing, Zach Moss. There's no, yeah, I wouldn't. Taylor's a really good call too, but if you gotta, I guess if you can get Taylor in, great. But if you need to save 600 and you got to get a little cheaper, like that's where you go. Go to Zach Moss. That's perfect. So really
Yep.
good call.
So in my lineups, I'm kind of looking at a McCaffrey, Moss, and Taylor kind
Okay.
of trio with Taylor or whatever, one of them in the flex.
Yep.
Because then when you do that, go right to the wide receivers. Like that's where you can pay up for Allen Robinson, who he's a scary one to pay up for, just because Mitchell Trubisky is such a hard quarterback to trust. Like I know that he's our value play, but
Yeah.
he's scary. But if you're gonna get someone this week,
Agreed.
Akuda's out, so if you can pair up Robinson and Trubisky, and then get John's guy Devontae Adams, you've still got 6,000 to spend per player. You've got a wide receiver, a tight end, and a defense left. Defense is gonna cost you what, 3,000-4,000.
Yep.
So I'm really that Devontae Adams and Allen Robinson are my two receivers where I'm like, I'm paying up for this week, especially because of the Trubisky stack. But
Yep.
what are you looking at wide receiver wise?
Adams for sure. Adams is in every lineup for sure. 100% against Minnesota's banged up. Well, not banged up, just lack of a
Brand
secondary.
new.
Yeah, exactly. So, the one thing that is frustrating is that Zimmer's defenses have done a really good job against Rodgers in the past few years. They kind of have his number, to be honest with you. So, and the total, that's one of the to bet the under in that game. It's like 44.5. So I don't think those two offenses are like, this isn't going to be like a 28-27 game. There's just no way. So especially the way Minnesota likes to play and the way Green Bay might have to. But Adams is going to see like every target for sure. So, I mean, he's always, you don't have to worry about that. Even if they're not scoring a ton, like, an 11-12 catch game is never out of the question for him. And especially this year. Godwin, if Evans plays, Julio, obviously Julio, like I'd love to get him in every lineup. He's 8,200. Adams is 8,000 even, and Godwin's 77. So, and then as you said, Allen Robinson too. That's another really nice play for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think maybe if you don't want to go total value, don't want to go total paying up. Obviously, the three guys we've talked about. I don't remember if it was on this stream or the 17 other we've had to start today. Marvin Jones Jr. I like that. You run the risk of going against Detroit's secondary, but it's a
Chicago secondary.
What I say, Detroit? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a division game, so if you're traveling to Detroit from across the country, if you're traveling to Chicago from across the country, have to play Chicago defense you're not very used to. Like it's challenging. They have a lot of players around that can make your life a living hell. Detroit's played them 4 times within the last 2 years. It's basically the same defense. I think have gotten worse since that 2 years ago. So, I'm not too worried about Marvin Jones Jr. there. I can play him and be pretty confident. But my two favorite ones are DK Metcalf or T.Y. Hilton. Maybe both if you want to get him in there. But like John said, led the league in red zone targets. Probably one of the better deep threats in the NFL. And I mean, the Seahawks set up the play action pass so well, and that's what he does well is the play action pass. And then T.Y. Hilton, T.Y. Hilton's just one of those guys that he's been pretty damn good his whole career, and he doesn't really get talked about. He's suffered injuries here and there, but like
sure.
I don't know. He's just one of those guys that I think could pop off this week, and people could be pretty pissed off they don't have him.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I say stay away from Jarvis and OBJ, Browns fans. Don't do it. Don't fall into the temptation. I know they're cheap this week.
Yeah, that might be tough. Here's my deep dive for like a tournament. If you're in a tournament and you want somebody that's going to be like under 4% owned, it's Marvin Hall from the Lions. So obviously no Kenny Golladay. Marvin Jones is going to see pretty probably significant target share. Hawkinson said he was healthy, so I'm guessing that the ankle's okay, so he'll probably get used a lot. But yeah, like if you're looking for a low owned wide receiver, he's Marvin Hall from
cheap.
Detroit, 4,700. So and then you can spend up elsewhere. And yeah, you just need, if like at his cost, he barely has to do anything to, to get value out of him. But if he happens to have a big day just because they don't have bodies, then that's a good one. So even cheaper than Kendrick Bourne, who I also like. But yep, so that's a pretty good one for a tournament.
I'll give my two deep. If you really want someone cheap, not going
Nice.
to be highly owned.
What do you
Give me
got?
1 second. Let me pull up what the latest news on him is. But okay, so just could have one play that pops him off. Laviska Shenault, fully
Yeah.
healthy, game one, not going to be highly owned.
Yep.
Um,
Good call.
yeah, I like him. But I think my favorite is Jacoby Myers.
Ooh, nice.
I
Against the
don't like
Dolphins.
this Dolphins defense. I like the Patriots way more than people are thinking. So, yeah, those are my two deep
Nice.
dives.
Good deep dives for sure. So, how about tight ends? Any cheap tight ends that well, you said Eric Ebron the other day, and he's only at 5,000, which that's great. So,
Yeah,
I think
especially
that's not
against
bad.
the Giants. That's let's see. Will Dissly. I mean, if Will Dissly is fully healthy, let's see what they say. Will Dissly, limited participant. He's good to go for the season opener.
Okay.
It's tough.
He's playing at
Um,
least. That's good.
But I
news.
mean, what really sucks is like I would like to know, is Dissly playing? If he's not playing, I like Greg Olson.
Yep.
You're giving Greg Olson, Russell Wilson. I like both those guys. It's hard to bite the bullet on one of them though, because you don't know who's going to get the more reps.
Well,
I'd say
Olsen's
if
been
you're
the
going
healthier
total
one
deep dive,
this summer,
if I'm
anyways.
going total deep dive,
Mhm.
under 2% owned this week, value play, I'd say it's got to be like David Njoku, maybe.
God, he's cheap. 4,400.
Yeah, I'd say maybe David Njoku. It's maybe Jay Sternberger. Maybe
So-
that's like really scary.
Yeah, but you'd rather start Robert Tonyan for the Packers. So Tonyan is baby Kittle. All right, $4,200 on FanDuel. He trains with Kittle in the offseason. He kind of reminds you of him too, like kind of super athletic guy. And he beat out Sternberger in the what's called in the preseason, whatever you want to call it. So in camp. So I think he's going to get a lot more run. Like Sternberger was kind of the guy, and like if you wanted him in like Dynasty, right? You're like, oh, cool, this young tight end. But looks like Tanyan's going to get a lot more playing time. So he'd be an interesting one for me. 4,200. Minnesota's pretty good against the tight end typically, but I mean, if you're going to throw a dart, you might as well. It's only 4,200, so that's not bad. So
I agree. I really agree.
other than that, yeah, I just like the guys at the top so much. Kittle 8,000, Andrews 7,400, and Ertz 6,700. I mean, like I said before, take a shot on some cheap wide receivers, pay up at running back, and then try to get one of those tight ends into your lineup. If you end up, taking, I don't know, Adams and Julio at wide receiver, and you got your Josh Jacobs and things like that, then yeah, that's the time where you reach down for Tanyan, guys like that are super cheap and just easy to plug in. I mean, he costs like the same amount as the defense, for crying out loud. That's amazing. So
Yeah, I just saw OBJ warming up and got nervous.
I know I can't believe it's happened. It's 12:38. We got 20 minutes, so we could give our defenses and then we can wrap this up.
Well, earlier in the week, defenses I liked were the Lions. That has now gone away
Yep.
with Okuda being out.
Yep.
I don't love all the defenses you would have to pay up for. I hate them all. I absolutely hate them all. Just because
even Buffalo.
the 49ers are playing the Cardinals. The Ravens are playing the Browns, which if you go off last year, like that's probably a good play, but I don't think that's what it's going to be like.
Right.
The Bills, I do like the Bills there. Patriots, I don't like the Patriots.
If I'm paying up, the Bills are the one I'm going after.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I mean that's really
Against Darnold and that shit offense. I mean, they're terrible.
I
The
think
Jets are terrible.
I think that it's got to be the Chargers or the Bills. Those are almost the
Okay.
two only good plays. I would almost even go so
How about
far
the
as to
Colts
say
against Jacksonville?
I would take the Packers because I don't trust this. I don't trust the Vikings yet. They got to prove to me they can do it without Stefanski and
And they do have
Diggs.
good defense. Yep.
How
How about the Colts against
I like the
Jacksonville?
Colts. The only thing that worries
Okay.
me about the Colts is if they get up big, then Jacksonville's throwing the ball 40, 50 times. That doesn't really.
Well, it's what you want. You want sack opportunities and what's it called, interception opportunities
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, Minshew's not. I mean, he'll turn the ball over. He's not.
Yeah, but
capable. I mean,
the Colts secondary is far from elite. That's what worries me. Their front seven's good, but
Yep.
that's a good play.
Gotcha. Just for a cheap one, they're only 3,700, same as the Lions we had the other day. So
I'd almost say Las Vegas might be, but they're starting so many new players. I don't like that.
Yep.
The Browns are last. Yep, that's a reason. Don't do that.
yeah, it's tough one for sure. Redskins could be sneaky too. Like the football team could be sneaky as well. Especially if the game goes the way I think it will, and Philly's going to struggle a little bit, especially on the offensive line. So could have plenty of sack opportunities there, and they're 3,400. That's really cheap. So
Really cheap.
if you need to save a couple bucks, that might be a good way to go, for sure. Good deal.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
The football team could be. All right. Nice.
Yeah, I know not many people are in here now. This thing says 1, but then you go on Twitter and it says there's more than that. Whatever, but yeah, it was nice. Hopefully this doesn't happen again. The Wi-Fi going down, that sucks.
Yeah, internet issues kind of held us up in the beginning, but
Yeah.
we'll figure it out.
Thanks for the questions.
Yeah, if you came by, thanks for joining us for sure.
Hopefully people will
Absolutely.
get more used to. Hopefully people will get more used to us doing this. Maybe we'll start going live a little bit more throughout the week. Just like, I don't know. Maybe we'll start going live again. It was fun, but it can be kind of hard.
Well, when we start, when these the bets and the DFS calls start hitting, and Marvin Hall is like the wide receiver 6 on the week, then people will come back for sure. So
I'll
just got to get good at this.
Yeah, we can. Once we start posting the clips of us calling plays that really worked or really big, and I'll start posting little minute snips. Because, I really do think we have plays that most people don't talk about that can help. But
No, we're going to be hashtag humble brag all week long, baby.
No, not humble.
For sure.
All right, everyone. I need a slogan. So, like Nick Merckx has peace and love. I'm going to figure out a slogan, start the show, end the show with it. Maybe not this show. This is John's show. So I'll start and end the Browns. But I still want something. I am the co-host. I want something. I need a little bit of substance.
Absolutely. You can test them out here. See what you like.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, people.
Yeah. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We appreciate it. Good luck this week with everything, all your fantasy, betting, anything you're doing. Good luck with that. And go Browns.
Yeah. Oh, I just
obviously.
realized John couldn't see me this whole time.
No, absolutely not.
All right,
so.